My name is Jake Harrison, and I never thought my boring grandfather could leave me anything other than old books and tiresome stories about the past, but everything changed when I received a letter from a lawyer in the mail, informing me of my grandfather's will. The letter contained mysterious words: "Your present lies where the past ends." My parents always thought my grandfather was a strange man, and this letter only reinforced their opinion, but I was determined to unravel this mystery. Setting off to my grandfather's old house in the wilderness of Arkansas, I began my investigations. Rummaging through dusty boxes and reading my grandfather's notes, I discovered that he was fascinated by the history of gold deposits in this area. In one of his notes, he mentioned a legend about lost Indian gold buried deep in the forest. Not believing my luck, I set out on a quest. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I searched, dug, studied maps, and experienced disappointments, but I didn't give up. Every mound, every cave, every corner of the sun-drenched forest was my next step toward solving the puzzle. After receiving the mysterious letter, I headed to my grandfather's old house, which stood in the middle of the dense Arkansas forest. For the first few days, I explored his house, sifting through his old belongings in search of any clues or keys to the mystery, but besides old photographs and diaries, I found nothing. Then I began to study his notes, which were in dusty boxes in the attic. Old maps, strange drawings, notes about legends. All this caught my attention. I realized that my grandfather was passionate about the history of the area, especially stories about gold deposits and Indian legends. One of his notes caught my attention. In it, he mentioned a legend about an Indian chief, hiding treasure from Europeans, buried it deep in the forest, in a place where nature meets history. These words made me wonder, where exactly is nature meets history? My search began. I studied maps, wandered through forests, searched for clues that could lead me to the treasure. My days were filled with adventures and disappointments. I found old Indian tracks, strange symbols on trees, but nothing that could directly point to the treasure. My heart pounded as if it was ready to jump out of my chest when I took a shovel and started working. The earth was hard, and every blow of the shovel was like a blow to my own disappointment. I dug and dug, trying to find something underground that could confirm my grandfather's legend. Minutes turned into hours, and hours into days. My hands were sweaty and wind-burned, my thoughts focused on every movement of the shovel. But the earth seemed endless and silent. There were no signs of a chest or any other treasure. At some point, when the sun was already setting on the horizon, I realized that I was on a false trail. My searches were in vain, and I felt disappointed and exhausted. But I couldn't give up. I was convinced that there were answers somewhere here, and I had to find them. Stopping for a moment, I took a deep breath and looked around. The forest was quiet and peaceful, as if it knew that I had to find something. Taking up the shovel again, I continued to dig, knowing that my journey was not over yet. When I returned home after a hard day of digging, my face reflected fatigue and disappointment. My wife, Emily, immediately noticed my mood and asked what happened. I told her about my searches and how I spent days digging the ground in the forest, hoping to find the treasure my grandfather had talked about. Her reaction was mixed. On the one hand, she admired my perseverance and determination. She saw how I struggled to find something that meant much more to me than just gold or treasure. On the other hand, she was concerned that these searches were taking too much of my time and energy. "Jake, I'm sure you sincerely believe in this treasure, and I'm proud of your perseverance," she said, hugging me, "but I'm worried that you're starting to neglect your health and our family because of this. We can find ways to solve this puzzle without such exhausting efforts." Emily has always been my main support, and her words made me think. I realized that she was right. This legacy of my grandfather was important to me, but my family was even more important. Together, we will solve this puzzle. Despite all the difficulties, when I told Emily about my searches and how I spent days digging the ground in the forest, she listened to me attentively, without interrupting. When I finished, she smiled and took my hands in hers. "Jake, I know how important this legacy is to you," she said, looking me straight in the eyes. "You believe in it so passionately, and I want to help you. Together, we can solve this mystery." Her words gave me new energy and determination. Knowing that she fully supported me, I felt that we could handle this together. We sat down at the table and started analyzing everything I had found so far, discussing possible next steps. With Emily by my side, I felt that nothing was scary. Together, We will overcome any difficulties and find what we have been looking for so long. Since childhood, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. All my summer vacations were spent at his old house deep in the forest. There was nothing more exciting for me than listening to his stories about the past, studying his old maps and notes, and wandering through the woods in search of adventures. He was like a true mentor to me. He inspired me with his stories and passion for exploration. Grandpa always told me that true wealth lies not in gold or precious stones, but in knowledge and adventures. He instilled in me a love for nature, history, and mysteries. As I grew up, many people viewed his stories with skepticism, considering them just the ramblings of an old man, but for me, they were more than just tales. They were part of my life, part of who I became. That's why when I received a letter about my grandfather's will and the cryptic words in it, I realized that it could be the key to something more significant than just legends. It was an opportunity to learn more about my grandfather, his secrets, and his true legacy. My family was always diverse. I have two older brothers, Mike and Tom. Unlike me, they never paid much attention to Grandpa and his stories. They considered him a strange old man who wasted his time on meaningless tales instead of more important matters. Mike and Tom always tried to stay away from Grandpa and his stories. They preferred to focus on their own affairs, not wasting time on fairy tales. Their skepticism sometimes even upset Grandpa, but he always accepted them as they were. When I told them about the letter in Grandpa's will, they initially didn't take it seriously. "It's just another one of his strange jokes," Tom said, disdainfully snorting. Mike nodded in agreement, adding, "Grandpa was a bit eccentric. There's no point in wasting time on his fantasies." But I knew that there could be something more to this letter than just a joke or Grandpa's imagination, and I was determined to solve this mystery, regardless of their skepticism. When Mike and Tom learned that Grandpa's will was indeed official and that it mentioned some mysterious inheritance, they began to fight for it. They didn't like that Grandpa entrusted me with this secret and the opportunity to unravel it. They believed that as older brothers, they deserved more respect and attention from Grandpa. Their ambitions for inheritance probably outweighed their skepticism towards his stories. They decided that they would be the first to find this mysterious inheritance and claim it for themselves. Tension began to build between us. They tried to convince me to give up my search and hand over all rights to the inheritance to them, but I was determined to continue my research, despite their protests. Every time I returned from the woods with new findings or theories, the tension between us only intensified. They did everything to discredit me and my efforts, but I steadfastly continued on my path. Over time, the tension between me and my brothers only grew because of Grandpa's inheritance. Our relationship became more strained, and we almost stopped talking to each other. Whenever we accidentally met, the air was filled with resentment and unpleasantness. Mike and Tom were convinced that I was acting selfishly by refusing to share the inheritance with them. They didn't understand that for me, it was not just about gold or money, but about solving the mystery and continuing Grandpa's legacy. Unfortunately, because of this, our bond weakened to such an extent that our paths diverged. We were no longer as close as we used to be. It was heartbreakingly devastating, but I understood that sometimes the price we pay for our beliefs can be high. But I continued on my path. Despite everything, for me, it was more than just a struggle for inheritance. It was a test of character and loyalty to my convictions. There was always a special relationship between me and my brothers from Grandpa's side. He always showed me more attention and care than Mike and Tom. He saw something special in me, and this created additional dissatisfaction among my brothers. Grandpa often invited me to visit him and told me interesting stories, devoting more time and attention to me than to others. He was my mentor and guide, and his support was always a huge inspiration for me. And when I learned about the inheritance and began to explore its mysteries, I felt that this was my chance to thank Grandpa for all his love and support. I knew that it was his way of passing on something valuable that connected us. My grandma was also always on my side. She always supported my interests and explorations, and when I started my search for the inheritance, she was one of the main supporters. Her positive attitude and support gave me strength to continue my journey, despite all the difficulties. My parents, Mom and Dad, reacted to Grandpa's inheritance differently. They always considered his inclinations and stories something strange and unusual, but at the same time, they respected him as a family member and tried to support him. Mom, being Grandpa's daughter, always had a special connection with him. She understood his passion. Dad, on the other hand, has always been more skeptical about historical legends and treasures. He believed I was wasting my time on frivolities and should focus more on practical matters. When I announced my intentions to continue the search, his reaction was restrained and cautious. Despite their differing views on heritage, my parents always tried to support me in my endeavors. They saw how important it was to me and wanted me to be happy. My grandfather's stories always seemed like a magical journey to other times and worlds. When he started telling his stories, time seemed to stand still, and I would immerse myself in his words as if in a fairy tale. He could tell of adventures and discoveries that would surpass any fairy tales. Stories of mysterious artifacts, lost civilizations, and ancient mysteries captivated my imagination. I saw myself as an explorer, wandering through jungles or traveling through time gates in search of adventure. In those moments, I felt like my grandpa and I were in a separate world, where anything was possible, where reality merged with fantasy, and I thanked him for giving me such amazing moments and inspiration. Each of his stories was like a key to new horizons, new opportunities. He taught me to see the world from a different perspective, to look beyond the horizon and believe in miracles. After many months of persistent searching and disappointments, I finally came to the realization that the answers to the mystery might be somewhere very close but in a different place. Inspired by this new insight, I decided to consider a broader radius, which led me to a neighboring state. One day, in the remote forests of the mountain range, I stumbled upon an ancient stone with carved Native American symbols. My heart raced with excitement as I realized it was the place my grandfather had talked about. It was where nature meets history. Without hesitation, I began my investigations, and my efforts were rewarded when I came across a buried chest hidden beneath a thick layer of moss and leaves. My heart pounded harder as I opened the chest and saw its contents, treasures my grandfather had spoken of. It was a moment of triumph and fulfillment of my dream. I had found a treasure that was not only material wealth but also a connection to my family's past. It was my heritage, which I could immortalize and pass on to future generations. When I returned home with the treasure, I realized it was not just the culmination of my search but also the beginning of a new chapter in our family's life. My perseverance and dedication to my grandfather's story were finally rewarded, and I felt he was watching me with pride. When I discovered the treasure, I was amazed that it had been hidden right under the noses of our acquaintances, who had watched my grandpa for many years. It was a surprise for all of us, including myself. Later, when I told our acquaintances about this discovery, they were amazed and delighted. It turned out they knew about my grandpa and his passion for history, but they never suspected he had left behind such a mysterious trace. Their reaction to my discovery was full of surprise and joy for me. They offered to help further research and preserve this historical heritage. Together, we realized that this treasure was meaningful not only to me and my family but also to our entire community. Thus, our family history became part of the history of our place of residence, and our connection with our acquaintances became even stronger thanks to this amazing discovery. Realizing the significance and historical value of the coins from my grandfather's treasure, I made a decision about their future use. These coins became a symbol not only of material wealth but also of my family's heritage, and I wanted to use them in a way that would benefit not only me but also others. First, I decided to set aside some coins for preservation in the family archive. They would be stored in a special place as important artifacts related to our family history and passed down from generation to generation. The remaining coins I decided to use for charitable purposes. I plan to organize an auction or exhibition where they will be sold, and the proceeds from the sale will be directed to support local charitable organizations or projects related to education and cultural heritage. Thus, these coins will become a source of support for those in need and a symbol of our family's heritage, which will continue to bring benefit and joy to our local community and beyond. Reflecting on the future and the possibility of starting a family, I realized that the coins from the treasure could become a valuable resource for supporting future generations. If I have plans to start a family and raise children, I would like to use a portion of the funds from the treasure to secure their future. These coins can be invested in educational funds or other means that will provide good conditions for future generations. I want my children to have access to the best education and opportunities to pursue their dreams, and using resources from the treasure can help with that. Thus, the coins from the treasure will not only be a legacy of the past but also an investment in the future. Supporting and providing for my future family in their aspirations and ambitions, the coins from the treasure can play an important role in supporting my future family. By using these funds, I can provide not only a comfortable existence but also the opportunity for my child to receive a quality education. The funds from the treasure will help lift our family off the ground and provide stability at the beginning of our journey together. They will also allow us to enroll our child in daycare and later in school, where they can acquire the necessary knowledge and skills for a successful start in life. This investment in our child's education and future will have long-term significance and help them realize their potential. Thus, the coins from the treasure will be an investment not only in our family but also in our child's future. The funds from the treasure can significantly help a young family cover immediate needs. Using these funds can provide us with financial stability and confidence at the beginning of our journey together. These coins will help us pay bills, buy groceries, and necessary household items. They will be a financial cornerstone that allows us to focus on our family's well-being and development without worrying about financial difficulties. Thus, the coins from the treasure represent not only a source of money but also a tool that helps us start a new chapter in life with confidence and hope for the future. After discussing our priorities and plans for using the funds from the treasure, my girlfriend and I decided that the top priority for us was to update our furniture, especially the bedroom. We headed to the store, Peaceful Dreams, where we were advised on a wonderful selection of mattresses and sofas. Initially, we were only planning to purchase a mattress, but when we saw the sofa called Cozy Retreat, we immediately felt that it was exactly what our new family needed. It looked comfortable, beautiful, and pleasant to the touch, and we were sure it would be the perfect addition to our new home. Thus, we invested a portion of the funds from the treasure in purchasing the sofa, which became the first step toward creating a cozy and comfortable home for us. It was an important decision for us, allowing us to start a new life together with comfort and joy. When my girlfriend and I made the final decision and purchased the Cozy Retreat sofa from the Tranquil Dreams store, we were pleasantly surprised by how caring the store staff turned out to be. The movers instantly offered to deliver our purchase to our home, which was a real relief considering we didn't have the means to rent a truck or own a large vehicle ourselves. We agreed to the offer, and soon the sofa was already on its way to our home. It was truly a splendid example of excellent service and customer care that made our first shopping experience together so pleasant and carefree. When we returned home and saw how smoothly and easily everything went, we felt that we had made the right choice, both in terms of furniture and in choosing the store. This sofa became not only a beautiful addition to our interior but also a symbol of the beginning of a new chapter in our life together. Once the sofa was successfully delivered and placed in our home, my girlfriend and I invited my mom to dinner to show her our new acquisition. Mom, as the elder member of our family, had always played an important role in our decisions, and her approval meant a lot to us. She came gladly and was immediately pleasantly surprised by our new sofa. She praised our choice and expressed joy seeing how we were building our own life together. We spent a pleasant evening over dinner, sharing memories and plans for the future. After dinner, we invited Mom to inspect our new sofa. She happily accepted our offer and spent some time examining it, appreciating its comfort. Her approval was an important sign for us that we had made the right choice. Further bolstering our confidence in our first joint purchase, as my girlfriend and I discussed plans for the future and preparations for her birthday celebration, we came to the decision that we wanted to make this day special for her. Considering my mom's financial difficulties, we decided to give her an unusual and thoughtful gift. We jointly came up with the idea of helping Mom with her debts as a birthday present. It was the best way for us to express our gratitude and care for her, helping her cope with financial difficulties and lighten her burden. We decided to arrange a small surprise dinner for her at a cozy restaurant and give her a special document affirming our promise to pay off her debts. This gesture would not only make her birthday unforgettable but also help her start a new chapter in her life with a clean slate. Thus, we decided that the best gift for Mom on her special day would not be material things but rather our attention, support, and care for her well-being. After several months of consideration, I finally made the decision to propose to my girlfriend. I thought our anniversary would be the perfect moment, symbolizing our golden moments together. I organized a romantic evening filled with memories of our shared moments, ones we had often talked about and reminisced over recently. On that evening, with happiness and love in the air, I took her hand and, with a trembling heart, made the proposal I had long awaited. Our anniversary became a symbol not only of our love and commitment to each other but also of a new stage in our life together. This moment will be remembered forever as one of the most important and happiest in our history. I'm glad that my proposal and her acceptance laid a strong foundation for our future family. One of the next important steps for us is to introduce my girlfriend to my father. Our relationship with him has always been warm, and I'm confident that my girlfriend will find support and understanding in him as well. We look forward to this meeting to expand our family ties and create an even warmer and supportive environment around us. However, unfortunately, the situation with my brothers is not as bright. After the unveiling of our grandfather's will, in which I was named the heir, my relationship with my brothers deteriorated. The passion for inheritance divided us, and now we no longer communicate. It's regrettable, but I hope that with time, the wounds will heal, and we'll be able to restore our relationship. All of this makes our decision to start our family even more important. We aim to create a harmonious and supportive environment for our future children, where love, respect, and understanding reign. We're confident that we can overcome any difficulties when we're together and make our family a true home, where every member feels loved and protected. A year after our proposal and acceptance, we decided to legalize our union and had a wonderful wedding. This day was special and unforgettable for us, filled with joy, happiness, and love. We met with our parents and close friends to celebrate this important moment in our lives. Our parents pleasantly surprised us with a monetary gift, which became not only a symbol of their support and care but also invaluable help at the beginning of our journey together. This generous gesture only strengthened our bonds and confirmed our belief that we're surrounded by people who wish us happiness and success in our family life. The wedding became not only the beginning of a new chapter in our family history but also a celebration that we'll remember and cherish for a lifetime. We're grateful to our parents and all our loved ones for their love, support, and participation in this important event. On our honeymoon in Miami, we found the perfect combination of luxury, romance, and adventure. Our vacation started with walks on the beaches, where we enjoyed the warm sun and crystal-clear ocean water. We tried various water sports like surfing and diving, creating many unforgettable memories. Additionally, we enjoyed the diverse cultural program of the city. We visited museums and art galleries, strolled through colorful neighborhoods, where we felt its unique spirit and atmosphere. We also attended luxurious parties and dined at exquisite restaurants, savoring delicious dishes of the local cuisine. Every day of our honeymoon was filled with bright impressions and new discoveries. We spent time together, enjoying each other's company and immersing ourselves in the atmosphere of celebration and fun. Miami became the perfect place for us to start our life together and will forever be remembered by us as a symbol of our love and happiness. Our story is not only a tale of love and new beginnings but also a story of the legacy we inherited from our families. Every step of our journey has been imbued with values and traditions passed down to us from our ancestors. My grandfather's legacy became not only a source of financial support for our new family but also a symbol of connection with the past and the legacy we want to pass on. Despite the difficulties and disappointments associated with the inheritance, we were able to take this challenge as an opportunity to come together and overcome obstacles. Our family has become stronger because of this experience. We found strength and wisdom in overcoming obstacles together and building our future based on love, respect, and understanding. My grandfather's legacy has become for us not only a financial resource but also a lesson that true value lies in our relationships and family ties.